Hi guys, so today I'm going to show you how to find local state government jobs, specifically in California. But I'm going to show you some websites, which you're going to see four links. This is governmentjobs.com. You can use this link to find local and state government jobs nationwide in the US. I use this all the time to apply for jobs as well. And then I'm going to show you what to apply for local, state, and government jobs. So governmentjobs.com is a useful one. It's not just purely for one state or just for local government jobs. And it's also for state government jobs. And it's a good place because some people own state use governmentjobs.com to for you to apply for their own local and state jobs. So it's good to know what the size is. And for a lot of people who graduated this year, back in May or might be graduating soon, this could be even for high schoolers who are graduating because keep in mind some jobs may not require a degree. You might be able to get internships in this way. So it's not always just for jobs. This is a great website to find local government jobs, state government jobs, internships, local and state agencies, and this also includes colleges, public colleges, so community colleges and state universities. So it's a good way to find it. So I'm going to use California as an example, as California has a big state. It's a big state, and plenty of people live there, so it's a good spot to find jobs. So you type where put California. I think I misspelled California. Let me try that again. California. You can also be specific. So if you really know what location you're looking for, you can put the zip code, city, state. You can also do that. I'm just gonna put in general the state. That's usually what I do for myself. So if you're looking for jobs in California, Texas, North Carolina, Connecticut, New York, Nebraska, Georgia, New Jersey, Philadelphia. Uh, Sorry, that would be Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but Pennsylvania. If you're looking for specific jobs like that in those cities or states, I just put the state generally, and then it will tell you all the list. The cool thing about this, which some people may not know about this, I know a lot of people still don't know about governmentjobs.com. You can look at relevance. You can focus on relevance or they posted. In general, I keep at relevance. They already have some titles there like electric trouble overhead and underground. So some of these jobs are actually blue collar work for the city or state. So keep that in mind that it's not all have to be white collar jobs, they have to be in the office. That's not always the case. It's actually pretty useful. So if you're someone who's a blue collar guy, who's a carpenter or electrician, special electrician or HVAC specialist, they're always looking for those in particular. This can be a good way to get the jobs. So you can see where it says they posted. You can put all the last 30 days, 7 days, 24 hours, whatever you want to choose. You can choose remote only, by the way. You can choose remote optional or flexible hybrid. As you can see, remote jobs are very, very unlikely to have many job postings. They're very rare, especially for local state and federal government jobs nowadays. So don't expect much. You can put full time, part time, temporarily, seasonal, internships, like I mentioned earlier, volunteer. That could be a good way for people who are still high school students or just graduated. You're going to college, you're having a hard time getting an internship. Why not apply for volunteer work? There's nothing wrong with that. That can actually be a good way to volunteer for government and so department. Yeah, you'll be unpaid, but you can get experience that you can apply that can help you get into a better master's degree program, PhD program that can help you get experience. So you can finally get an actual maybe paid internship to maybe a temporary position to maybe official training title. You got to think, start at the bottom and work your way up. That's okay. I didn't have any connections when I was looking for government jobs. I graduated college back in 2017 with my bachelor's. Took me 2 years to get my first entry level state government job. What I was doing before that, I was working at retail for a while since 2015 till I graduated. And I kept working to April 2018. So I worked in retail for like 3 years. Then April 2018, I got a job in security and working as a teacher's aide for public school. So I worked those two jobs. Teacher aide was per diem status, so I can only do up to 30 hours a week. Security job was 40 hours a week, bare minimum. So I would do at least 40 hours. Most of the week, I was doing much more than 40. I was doing like 45, 50 plus hours. A lot of mandatory OT until I got my state government job in 2019. So it worked out. And from there, I just left the jobs and I eventually left my security job. I was working for that part time. for a while longer, but then left it by I believe it was April 2021 around there, and I've been working my job, my state government job. It's been great. So you can start from the bottom like me, have zero connections, and then you finally get your foot in the door, and now you can get connection. Now I know so many people in my state department are working there. I know people from other state departments a bit. I know some people who had the same time as me in other states. I met liaison with the federal government agency slash department as well. I have a lot more connection now, 6 years later, working as a state government employee. But I had zero connection before. Now I have something. So top organization, you can click on county or Los Angeles. That's a typical one. Los Angeles is a big city. You're gonna have most jobs there. I know it's expensive to live in Los Angeles, obviously. It's an expensive ass place to live, but that's where a lot of the government, local government jobs in particular, are gonna be at. But you can look at California State University. There's a lot of options. You can really specialize in this website. I like it a lot. I know a lot of people don't know about it, but you can also go categories too: law enforcement, health services, education, private safety, miscellaneous jobs, administration, parks and recreation. If you know the show Parks and Rec, to keep that in mind a bit, how it might be a little bit like. Of course, it's exaggerated, but still, community services. And you can go even by salaries estimate. So you can go as low or as high. I would recommend going more the medium salary range for entry level within your county, city, and state. So I would guess, depending where you live in Cali, I would probably think that maybe 60 plus starting salary might be more commonish to potentially get in your city, your city, your county, city, and state location. 80K plus may not be realistic for entry level jobs. 40 plus is much more realistic. That's I started making at 40 something thousand dollars a year. My first salary was 42,000 something at my entry level training title as an investigator, field investigator. So keep that in mind that I started that low back in 2019. Nowadays, starting salaries might be more like in the high 40s, low 50s something, which it has gone up, which is good. But I started in 2019, 42,000 something a year. That was okay, even 40,000 a year, exactly 40,000 can be very normal at that time. Even some jobs nowadays, but most jobs are higher than 40,000. So I would expect that 60,000 plus might be possible for entry level in Cali. 80,000, much less likely. 40,000 plus, definitely likely. For bachelor's degree, 40 to 60,000 is more the expected salary range you can get for entry level. 80,000 to 100,000 is usually 2 3 years of work experience. You might be together, depending where you live. Right now, I'm making more than 70K a year, but I'm still not 80,000, and that's with two promotions. So keep that in mind. I got promoted twice, and in 4 years, I got promoted twice, and I'm still technically below 80,000 a year. Still good for my title for what I do. I still higher than above average in most states. But for the place where I live, it's kind of high cost of living, so it's not as high it could be. But that's difficult. I still love my job, not planning to leave. I like working as a state government employee, but don't expect higher than 60K immediately. You might be able to get 65K, maybe 70K if you really want to push it, but don't expect it all the time. But that's just an idea of website you can use, and we can just go scroll down. Like they have a lot of job. Cali's a huge state, so you have potential to work for local and state government in a lot of places. I'm gonna click on this one if you have experience. Electric troubleman, overhead, and underground. Very interesting job. You employ a city of Palo Alto. Now this job is gonna be hard to get. So for 173K a year. So that you're looking for someone very experienced. It's a good paying job, yeah. Descriptions right here. You can read the description to yourself. There's a shift schedule, uh, Tuesday to Saturday, typical for this type of jobs. Wednesday, Sunday. This depends on your schedule. This kind of remind me of my schedule was in security. I used to do Tuesday to Saturday, but my hours made me work the early morning hours of Saturday and Sunday. So that how it was working out. But in general, this is pretty tough Tuesday to Saturday, Wednesday to Sunday. Not impossible these type of jobs. More working conditions, essential duties, minimum qualifications. This way you want to take a look. Graduation from high school. GED. Five. This is what it really matters. You got to be on high school. So 5 years of journey level experience as a line worker, including electrical service worker. So if you're a lineman, line woman, line worker, this could be a job to look into. Special requirements: possession of an appropriate valid Cali Class A driver's license required, or possession of a valid Class C license at a time of employment. So these are above average driver's license, not the regular one. Rubber girl certification administered by the city in compliance with Title 8 electric safety orders. So there's supplemental information. So keep in mind that this is the bare minimum qualifications you need. If you have work experience on top of all this bare minimum qualification, that will help. So you have to keep that in mind. This job is obviously not an easy one. Benefits. You can look at the benefits and questions that you had to answer, right? So you can have an idea. I recommend when applying for these jobs, make sure first and foremost you create an account with governmentjobs.com. Create like any work board website like Handshake, right? So that's when you can put your application information, the degree you have or obtaining, current degree you currently have, like high school diploma, for instance, certifications you have, professional organizations you may be part of or affiliated with. Uh, if you're part of any honor societies like Phi Alpha Alpha or Beta Alpha Phi, Beta Alpha Alpha, those type of honor societies, either community college based or 4 year university based. That can help. For this job, maybe not as much, but obviously it's a high end, high paying job, right? So this looks like impossible. How are you gonna do it as a recent college grad? Well, you can look at full time jobs. Let me put a new tab. You can look at internships for people who just finished or still in college, and look at the full-time jobs. You can look at the salary, right? It's very high. It looks really hard to get. Look at the estimates. Let's look at 40,000 plus. That's more typical of entry-level job, right? 6,000 may be typical depending what you're going for. A core reporter. Obviously, full-time salary is very high, so I wouldn't expect this one to be an easy one to get. But if you look at some of the salaries, they're pretty high, but this also Cali, depends on the location. So let's click on the health program coordinator, just to give you guys an idea. All right, we're gonna work for Counter Trinity, California. This location, so the city in Cali, the division that you're gonna be at, department, all these things. Job posting number right here as well. And look at the definition, the experience of the job is. What you really focus, besides looking at this to see if your degree experience match, you want to look at the minimum qualifications at all times. Things you need to know about the job, knowledge, ability to do, training experience they may have. They love people with college degrees in this type of fields. It makes sense. If you have certification on top of that, really helps. This gives an idea of what they're looking for. Um, but these are just full-time jobs, right? And I put 40,000 plus. So you have an idea how it can be reachable, but some of these are going to be hard. So you may have to, scroll it down and keep looking for something seasonal sometimes. Teaching to teaching others. This could be something that some people could do. You see this, the employer, the city, department you're gonna be working for, which is community services department. You gotta look at the closing date so you know when to apply. Information about the job, essential duties, what the organization is, which is all important if you ever get a job interview. Minimum qualifications: prior teaching hours experience required, bachelor's degree or minimum 3 years working experience. So all these things are not gonna be super easy to obtain, right? But not impossible. Maybe during college you obtain something. Solid waste equipment operator. These are not simple blue collar jobs. These are more people who experience professional blue collar workers. Not easy to obtain, but at least you can look at the full time jobs and look at relevance uh, and other location you're looking for. Health services, law enforcement, public safety, administration, miscellaneous private works. We can click on administration for the job at 40,000 plus a year, and you can see what they have. Obviously, for this type of salaries, those are going to be hard jobs to obtain. But sometimes they do have entry level jobs. You just have to look through it. You can look at 20,000 plus, and maybe it would be something a little bit easier to find. Full time, in administration, then you can go from there and look at the salary ranges. There's a full-time job as a grant contract specialist. Yes, it's contract based, so it can always be removed, but it's a way to get experience. They of course always let people experience, all right, but you guys try something. But this could be something you gain experience depending. Education at least, associate degree, you're gonna need related to the field. So you gotta keep that in mind. So they're saying, all right, behavioral social science, business, public, healthcare, administration, things like that. Experience, 2 years of full-time administrative experience. They would prefer that. So that's something you can look into you can find something more of your type. They have one that's a low wage job, medical records technician one, vital statistics. Not because the jobs are bad or someone just very uh, low qualifying employee. Some of the jobs are low pay. That's the problem. I started with a low pay job as a state government employee, 42 something thousand a year in a high cost of living city and state. So you can look at this and look at the requirements. There could be somewhere you can start. Maybe you have a bachelor's degree in public health or human resources, things like that. And you can look into doing something like this. In the meantime, get connections to move up. That doesn't hurt. It gives the information there. Examples are essential duties, minimal qualification, option. Education completed of a course in medical terminology from accredited college university. Experience 1 year of performing or typing or critical duties in a medical health or healthcare setting, etc. There's an option two, right? So they give you more options. Option three, ways you can potentially get this job or get a higher salary on it, depending which option you apply through. So all options, knowledge of, etc. So there's something you can get into. They have more information. Someone who has veteran experience, it tends to be the first people they look into. And again, you can also check the benefits, see if that's worthwhile for you. Look at the benefits they offer. Questions they're gonna ask already over here that you're gonna have to complete it. This is all prior to getting any job interview. Of course, applying for this is not guarantee a job interview, right? But you can try. Doesn't hurt. You go to page two and you can keep looking at things and see if there's something more qualifying for someone just finished college right now. You can keep looking down. Eventually, you're gonna find something. I'm sure a specialist, 62K to 75K a year, right? Santa Barbara in California, city of Santa Barbara, and you can go down. Explain about us and the position, hybrid flex work schedule. Don't expect to get a remote job right off the bat. I really recommend having focus on full time, office, in person jobs. If they offer hybrid, great. But keep that in mind, that's not always going to be a benefit, especially initially. To view a benefit package, you can click there, knowledge of what they expect. Windows 95 98, that's pretty old school, but sure. If you need help with that, I think most of us are used to with this Windows 10 and 11 by now. But ability to, but keep like the government can use things that are pretty old at times. They explain what ability, experience and training guidelines, experience they would prefer or require 2 years like increasing responsible, general critical experience, which of course can be difficult. But if you have bookkeeping experience, it can be great for this type of jobs. So if you've done bookkeeping part time, maybe try college years, maybe those 4 years of bookkeeping part time equates to already 2 years. So you got to think like that too. Maybe you got that. Um, so educational training, equivalent to the completion of a 12th grade, supplemented by specialized critical accounting training, license, basic proficiency in Word and Excel. If you get license certification on Microsoft Office, especially advanced level, that's still very useful in government. If you're very good with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, especially Word and Excel, Outlook as well, you're pretty good in the government. That's basically all you really need is Excel, in order probably be Excel, Word, Outlook, PowerPoint, and that's mainly all you really need to do a lot of the office work. So if you get certification, especially advanced level, that will help a lot. They can make maybe they might make discretions if you lack direct work experience, the needed years of experience. But that's something you can look into. This is a job you can potentially get, and you gotta be making 62K plus a year as a staff full time, classified, which is what you want. Classified means it's more of a permanent title. Unclassified titles mean they're not permanent. They're more titles that are kind of made up and may or may not be permanent in the future. and depends on budget, and they're usually the first people that will be cut off when their budget cuts for whatever reason. Keep that in mind. So you really want classified titles. It's just a key way of saying this is a permanent title. You pass the training, you become permanent. Unclassified could be great salary, could be great benefits, but then it could be get rid of or removed pretty quickly. So I gotta keep those things in mind. So that's just an idea for you guys to have. You can always click on other options. There's something I click on here, internships. Again, this would be easier. Some of them are paid $17.28 an hour. I know Cali, Southern Cali are also still expensive, but you gotta think in the long term. So you can do facilities and non-revenue. So the income, engineering planning, a little bit higher pay depending if you're an engineering student. Process engineering, $21 plus an hour. That's something to look into. A lot of requirements are already listed as everything else. The only requirement here is what high school diploma. Full-time college student of at least junior year level in good standing in a bachelor's degree program or graduate degree program, the field of study related to the what the field is, right? So engineering planning. So you gotta look into that. Work schedule. They give the work schedule, 15 hours a week on site each week and up to 20 hours a week. So this is a great way to get a job. Like everything I mentioned earlier, yeah, those are harder to get, especially if you're still in college or you just graduated. But these internships, a lot of people can get in these internships who are recent graduates, who are still in their third, fourth year. In general, a lot of internships are easy to obtain once you're a junior in college, right? So your third year of college is usually the time when you can really get better internships, especially paid ones. So you can look into these things and you might find something, intern accounting. If you're for accounting major, this could be a good way to get experience and get your foot in the door. Yeah, they may not be remote. As you can see, internships have for no remote at all, but some of them have hybrid schedule. Not many, but it's something. And that's the way you got to think about. Now, if you're an experienced individual, right, you can put full time and you can look at different options. Or you can just remove full time, just put remote only. See what they have for remote and look at the salaries. Director, say regional early learning support grants, human resource project consultant. There's options here, not many, but that's something you can look into. If you're a very experienced person, remote jobs are more available. So if you're not, don't expect to get them. Apply, but don't expect to get an interview at all. Or even someone telling you, hey, you're not getting the job. You can apply for all these jobs opportunities, and no one will let you know if you got an interview or not. Happens all the time. That happened to me in most cases when I apply for jobs in my state. I really ever got someone telling me, "Hey, we rejected your application." I just had to assume they rejected me after 6 plus months of hearing nothing. I just keep applying. It's a numbers game. So this is governmentjobs.com. This can be used for any state you live in. So any state you live in, you can use governmentjobs.com. Great website to use. I use Cali as an example, as this video is going to be more about Cali, but you can put any state. I'll make more videos about each state some days, until I finally finish all states. I want to show you guys now local government jobs directly from Cali website. So this is local government job list. So you can use governmentjobs.com and you can go through the direct website from Cali itself or the state you live in. This is just an example. I'll show more other states. So they have the city you can apply for: County of Alameda. I think that's how I pronounce it. There's County of Contra Costa, County of Marin, County of Napa, and you can keep going, San Francisco, and you can find jobs in these areas, right? So you can click on one here, they have internships, and you can look at it and see what job postings they have. Now you can scroll down, crowd hiring solution. Maybe they have certificate programs, or you may have to make an application, or an account, like governmentjobs.com. You should make an account, make a detailed, provide information needed, and use the website to apply for jobs. So you can click and learn if there's anything to apply for, and you can look into more information. It may or may not be useful, but they may have jobs. Some companies may have jobs. There's some look City of Alameda, and their job postings here: part-time, year-round facility attendant. Maybe a nobody job, but sometimes getting some in the foot door, especially without a college degree, can get you somewhere. You can see if that's nearby where you live. I'm just clicking that to give an idea. Examples of duties similar to governmentjobs.com, because you know what? It comes from straight from government jobs. So the fun thing is that if you guys notice that when I click on this, it goes straight to governmentjobs.com. So a lot of these local and state government jobs are going to be posted in in governmentjobs.com anyway. So when you do the application and you apply, you may realize, oh crap, I had to sign in to governmentjobs.com because they come straight from governmentjobs.com. So it's legitimate. It's very much used by many local and state agencies and departments nationwide. And this gives information what you gotta do, how you're gonna be eligible, uh, what requirements you may need, or what expectation they have of you. This is more of an easy job to maybe get, but it could be a lot of competition depending where you live. Cali's a big state, right? So this is an idea to for you guys to have. This is job board Cali State. So this is easier to get more uh, maybe jobs in specific counties more directly. This is also cities and counties. This is job board for counties in general. So administrative service director, they just list a bunch of city and county jobs. This might be a little bit easy instead of going to by city. This might be more of your taste. You can scroll down, there are a bunch of opportunities. City manager. Obviously, some of these jobs not easy to get, right? County council, none of these are super easy. Deputy chief, officer, etc. But this is just to have an idea we can apply for jobs. Maybe you already have experience. Maybe you have a master's degree in accounting, and you looking and you had 10 years in accounting, certified private accounting. This is jobs you want to move to. Maybe you in the private sector you want to go public. Nothing wrong with that. This is straight mainly California Careers website. This is mainly going to be state government jobs. So you can look at gas state job. You can type here for something more specific within your field, and you can see what they have. Architecture, engineering, healthcare support, blue collar work right here, installation, maintenance, repair. Obviously, that's vague, but gives an idea. Arts, design, supervisor, installation, maintenance, repair workers. That's something you can look into. Look at the jobs they have here. You don't always have to be someone who just a white collar dude or corporate career person. Depends on your work experience. My dad is a blue collar worker. He's worked in aviation before, electrician. He went to school to be an electrician, technical school in Brazil. His main job right now is being a carpenter for the last I think 20 years. So you can go somewhere. He's very well rounded, but he's an excellent carpenter. So you can make jobs. He's working for a university right now. So those are things you can think about. I think design workers. I personally respect blue collar workers a lot. We need them to survive. Without them, no country will ever really be sustainable. Architectural designer, associate space planner, audiovisual assistant. These are jobs that might be hard to find in the private sector, but you can still find them at local and state governments and departments. A lot of times because the public wants real people and not just robots or AI. So that kind of pushes the government to create funding to make this position exist. Not all of them will have a job position available, but that's something you can look into. You can see if they have these jobs. View the class specification of this job. Maybe they have the job openings or not. You can test them out. You can check. It's useful to look into these things. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to see if I can type. Let's say I work in EO, right? So let's say EO investigator. I'm a type of an EO investigator. I conduct EO affirmation investigations. So no jobs found, right? So there's nothing for EO investigator. What if I get more vague and just put investigator? Now look at that. Yeah, I couldn't find something related to specific to EO, equal employment opportunity, but look what I found. Business taxes, specialist one, board of equalization. That's something you can think about. Deputy labor commissioner one. Obviously, this job's not the easiest. But look, investigator. Yeah, it's vague, but then you can look Department of Consumer Affairs. All right, salary $62,115 per year, starting salary. Max out at sorry, it's $6,215 per month. I apologize, I read it wrong. But that's something you can look into and see if you're eligible. They have recruitment right here. So the recruitment is June 5th, June 7th, August 5th. You guys gotta keep looking for these things all the time, and they specify these things. The benefits as an equal opportunity officer too, equal opportunity employer. They mention that all the time. So these are things you can look into, and you can become an investigator. I was already a EO investigator, internal EO investigator in my own state department. I never carry a weapon. I just conduct civil cases. Employee complaining against another employee, supervisor, etc. You can be an investigator that has nothing to do with being typical, Leo law enforcement officer and carrying a weapon. You can be all types of investigators that conduct the civil cases. You don't have to be someone putting yourself out there in danger. You can still deal with